made this very clear. Do not believe anything that you see in the mainstream media. Don't believe any of it. It's optics or it's outright lies and misinformation. Okay? Real simple point number 12. Point number 13. It's stated that Trump is very familiar with the famous book by SunTzo, The Art of War. And he's using one of the key tenets of The Art of War. Get your enemy to reveal himself. Right? To illustrate that, take a look at what's been going on over the last few weeks. Take a look at all of the traitors to the president, all of the ones who are disloyal, who have been revealed either by their actions or a forced hand by President Trump, or they've simply come forward themselves and admitted that they're no longer aligned with the president. Those who once favored, for example, auditing the election. Kelly Loeffler, Lindsey Graham, Marsha Blackburn, just to name a few. Yes, we're going to audit. And then the mob happens, right? And they're convinced and they change their mind. Oh, no, we can't have that. We can't have violence at the Capitol. And so they're influenced by the mob and they change their mind and they abandon the president. Others have come forward a long time ago. Many of the famous ones are, there's Ben Sasse, the senator from Nebraska. Mitt Romney is one whose name is recognized often everywhere around the world. But all of those folks have come forward now through one reason or another, whether it's their own admission or whether it's just because they've been revealed by the way they vote and legislate as traitors to President Trump. And he wanted that to happen, and it takes time. They needed to become self-revealed traitors in order for the next series of events to take place. Point number 14. The election is now viewed as an issue of cyber warfare. They have proof of China moving votes from Trump to Biden. It's no longer a domestic issue. It's an attack by a foreign country. It's not a U.S. constitutional issue alone. It's a national and worldwide security issue. If China can do it to us, they can do it to the UK. They can do it to Poland, to Germany, to the Netherlands, to Italy, to Australia, to Canada, where all of you people have been so kind and given me messages and written from. It can happen everywhere, and China can do it to anyone. It is truly a worldwide concern. Places where good people live, work, and have hope of freedom and liberty, and who admire the template that President Trump has set forth as a leader. So, it involves all of you, not just the United States issue. Point number 15. The general said that COVID, and this won't be a surprise to most of us, COVID is used, number one, to shut down economies and wreck them, to incite fear and instability with regards to the economy. Number two, COVID was created and pushed out and used by the Communist Socialist Party in America and other such parties around the world as to put forth, but especially in America, the mail-in ballot debacle. And number three, it's a man-made biological weapon which was purposefully released upon the entire world. The entire citizenry of the world is affected by this thing. Now, they also needed to increase the death counts. And that's why we saw that every death, no matter what it was a COVID death. A perfectly healthy person who dies listed as a COVID death. Well, wait a minute. He wasn't perfectly healthy after all. Well, he's had a lifelong heart issue, or he had asthma, or she had she was overweight, whatever, or she was over 75. We did a study back in, this was back in July when they were talking about possibly hitting 70,000 deaths or so in the United States. And we did a study on death certificates, and it wasn't anywhere near that number. It was more like 4,000 or 5,000 people. So COVID was used to increase death numbers, to incite the panic when people see those huge numbers. And when you see communist socialist politicians or anyone say, hey, we're really sorry that 355,000 people have died of COVID. Every death is tragic, and I don't want to take it lightly. COVID can kill. but it's nowhere near 355 or whatever number. They're inflated. And when they say that, they're showing their cards. They want you to be afraid. Number 16, the attack on the United States Capitol. All right? It was planned. It was organized and it was carried out by Antifa and Black Lives Matter. It had top-level officials of both the Republican Party and the Communist Socialist Party involved in that, involved in the planning of it, involved of the execution of it. And I have just read that Nancy Pelosi orchestrated the riot at the Capitol and her folks, her colleagues. That's what this conference call discussed. I'm sharing information. All of you haters and critics and trolls, that's a conspiracy theory. I'm just sharing the information. You, if you're intellectually mature enough, can do more research if you want on that topic. Do your own research. Use multiple competing sources of your information and draw your own adult conclusions. Don't rail on my channels and on my Facebook page and on YouTube and everywhere. Oh, that's a conspiracy theory. I won't believe it until I see it. The same is true for me. I'm sharing information. Nancy Pelosi's laptop is telling a big, juicy story right now. And I want you to take a look when you see Pelosi walking around the Capitol and doing all that she's doing. You tell me, let me know if you notice that she's got U.S. Marshals around her, female U.S. Marshals escorting her. Now, I don't know anything about that, but the conclusion that I draw is that it sure does appear that she's under house arrest. She was certainly relentlessly pursuing a second impeachment of President Trump, which she got done. And it makes you wonder, things that make you go, maybe that laptop is telling a juicy story. Maybe she wants to pursue impeachment relentlessly because of what's on that laptop, and she knows what President Trump has on her. And so she wants to assassinate his political career. You see, if she gets an impeachment through the Senate now, which won't happen, President Trump would be forbidden to run for public office ever again. So every Communist Socialist who you see putting forth impeachment, he's unstable, he's unfit. You know what's the driving catalyst of that? Unmitigated and raging fear of what President Trump knows and how he will reveal and eliminate more members of the deep state, globalists, and rhinos, those people who we call Republican in name only. So sheer unmitigated catastrophic fear is driving the Communist Socialist Party. Number 17, point 17, the letter put out by the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Everybody's worried about that letter. They said that they acknowledged that Joe Biden would be inaugurated on January 20th, and there was a collective gasp. Oh, no, the wind out of our sails. Why did they say that? It's over. Come on. We thought we had the military on our side. Ladies and gentlemen, they have to say that. They have to say it. I'm going to give you a homework assignment, my friends. Look up that letter, the letter from the United States Joint Chiefs of Staff. I believe it was put out on January 7th or 8th or so, sometime shortly after the riots at the United States Capitol. Do some homework on that letter, examine it, read it, and see if you can see a date on that letter, when it was dated. And research what that might mean. Homework assignment. Point number 18. Between now and January 19th, there may well be actions taken, some of which will be overt and noticeable, and many that won't. Some covert, people being arrested perhaps. General McInerney said, according to the information that I received, that the president understands that if nothing happens, our republic is in grave danger, and the republics and the governments around the world are in grave danger. Freedom and liberty around the world are in peril. He added in this information that we are in full and ready military operation now to remove threats, both people and issues that are a danger to the republic. Now, the blackouts will be caused by the good guys, so don't panic and be fearful. The good guys, the white hats, as we say, will cause the blackouts and so forth so that they can get the bad guys, the black hats. There may well be massive arrests, some of which, again, we may see and some we may not. Gitmo, or Guantanamo Bay, may be a busy place. Point number 19, finances around the world. The general said that this is also about going back to the gold standard, to get our financial house back in order, to remove the Rothschilds and others in power who have monopolized for decades the world banks and finances around this planet. So it's directly involving all of you who watch this program and others. This kind of issue is not only a United States issue. Point number 20, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo tested the satellite emergency broadcast system last Monday during a speech that he gave at the Voice of America symposium. When his speech was delivered, apparently in real time to 209, all 209 of those members of that organization, it was sent out and translated into all of those native country languages. It had never been done before in that way. He did it to see how many of those member nations would broadcast his speech. And not one of them did. So, he understands now that the emergency broadcast system may have to be used. Those are the kind of tests. Now, you wouldn't have thought about that, perhaps, unless someone says, hey, do you know that was something that's never happened before? Translated in 209 different languages to 209 member nations to see if it would be broadcast? There was a reason for that. Point number 21. To date, there are executive orders for states of emergency in the following states in the United States: Georgia, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, Utah, and Louisiana, declaring them states of emergency and possible disaster. That gives the military the ability to move into place. By the end of the day, they're saying Saturday, tomorrow, January 16th, and it may become what they call a hot. The situation may become hot around the 18th or 19th of January. Point number 22. I'm going to say 4 words. Don't let them freak you out. This is a war, and you need to be comfortable saying that. Now, it's an information war. It's a freedom of speech war. If you had a voice on Twitter, on Parler, any other social media platform whereby you were censored because of what you say and what you believe, as long as you weren't making threats of violence against people, places, or things, you're part of that war. You've been a victim of the commu-socialist movement, just as the President of the United States has been. And you know, ladies and gentlemen, I'll wrap up here. As Lynn Wood said, he said, all lies will be revealed, and it will be glorious. It will be glorious.